Penn State beats Utah in the Rose Bowl 35-21. That's Sean Fitz, Nate Bauer. I'm Greg Pickle from Blue White Illustrated. Sean, this game definitely changed when Cam Rising, the Utah quarterback, was hurt, but I still feel like if you watched the video before the game, we all talked kind of about the fact that we thought Penn State might just be better than Utah, and I think it may have been more competitive with Rising, but either way, it did feel like Penn State was on its way to a victory before he went down.
Penn State was getting closer and closer to getting home. They got one sack on the last play of the first half. They ended up with 6 sacks for the game. A lot of that came after the change, but they were getting closer and closer, and finally they buckled down on defense, did what they had to do, kept things in front of them. And if you look at the first half, Utah hits that big play on the deep shot against Marquise Wilson. Penn State almost got to him. If they don't hit that, a lot of things change. But 14-14 at halftime, give Penn State credit. They came back and did everything that they had to do, and you really couldn't have drawn it up much better for offense, defense, special teams, for everything for Penn State.
Yeah. Nate, Penn State is tied with Utah 14-14 going into halftime. Utah gets the ball first. Penn State kept them off the field. And then 3rd and 2, Mike Yurcich, I won't use the word he used, but didn't really know. He liked the call. He said it was one they've repped in bowl practice, but he thought the alignment from Utah might be a problem. Nick Singleton makes a lot of things no longer become a problem unless you're Utah. He runs for an 88-yard touchdown. 87, I'm sorry, yes. And Penn State really kind of started to run away from there.
Yeah, I mean, I was just going to say, like, there are players that change games, and so, yes, Cam Rising was that player for Utah, and his absence was impactful very clearly, but the game changed with Nick Singleton's run. I mean, right? I mean, you're backed up against your own 5-yard line, and to be in that situation where really the game had been, I would say the momentum had turned toward Utah's side, that it just ends it. And you know, it's I hesitate to simplify it to the level that I have this year, but it's just it changes the dynamic of the entire program. Right. The entire trajectory of Penn State's season changes with Nick Singleton running for 60-plus yard touchdowns. Right. Like, that's just what he has done throughout the season, and once again, tonight it showed. It was the exact same thing.
Yeah. Sean, when you look at some older guys on this team that played their last game, P.J. Mustafer, Juice Scruggs, Sean Clifford, of course, Ji'Ayir Brown, there's a lot of guys who have played a lot of football here, maybe haven't had as much success, at least in the quote-unquote big games, as Penn State fans would like it, as they would like. But I think it says a lot to watch those guys out on the field after the game, in the locker room, everything else, and really just took in this moment. They've done a lot for Penn State, maybe a bit underappreciated in ways, but certainly guys that deserve to go out with a win like this.
I will let Nate talk a little bit about Sean Clifford, because he was absolutely amazing and could not have gone out on a better note. But you could also say the same. Ji'Ayir Brown was incredible. P.J. Mustafer was very good as well. These seniors, Juice Scruggs, you keep going down the list. Big-time contributors that just completely changed the game for Penn State. Yeah. So, but you got to start with Clifford. I mean, everything that has happened in the last 6 years, he has a legacy. People will remember things, but the way that he ended his legacy is just, I don't know that you can put it into words how much that means for that guy and for that team.
Yeah, no doubt. Drew Allard coming in, of course, to finish the game, Nate, but not until Clifford threw 2 touchdown passes, arguably played his best game as a Nittany Lion. He's been here for about 6 years, going on 60. He's played a lot of good games. This may have been his best.
Yeah, the stats aren't going to blow you away, right? I mean, it's not like he lit up the stat sheet, 2 touchdowns, 200-plus yards, whatever it was. But no, the type of plays that he made, some of the sacks that he avoided, I thought, extending some plays, just it's cliche, but managing the game. Right. He did the things that he needed to do to put them in a position to win the game, and the double move to Keandre for the 88-yard touchdown, set up by his pump fake. So I just thought he's the same story. He was mature. It's not like he is that one player who is just going to change the game for you, but he can shepherd you when he's surrounded by the players that he was, and you saw that again tonight.
Sean, final thoughts as we get ready to wrap up the 2022 season in the first 2 days of 2023. And, I talked to some guys, and it's kind of funny because they know that to get where they want to go, the work to do so starts as soon as they get back to State College sometime tomorrow. So they'll savor this, no doubt about it. But an interesting team. maybe one of the more underappreciated 11-win teams or underrated 11-win teams. They obviously, again, didn't play well in losses to Michigan and Ohio State, but certainly a season to be proud of in the build-up.
Number one, you got your signature win. Of course,
Yep.
Utah, a very good team. Penn State, better. Just flat out better.
Yep.
And this was, I know that we talk about Kyle Whittingham and things like that, but Penn State was better. They coached better today.
Right.
So Manny Diaz did a heck of a job adjusting in that second half. You look at the guys that are going to be key pieces next year. Keandre Lambert-Smith caught that big touchdown.
Yep.
Kalen King had the big interception. Chop Robinson was a menace all game.
Yep.
They're going to have some holes to fill, but you're feeling pretty good about the stars
Yeah.
that you have coming back, and that's not even talking about the game breakers like Nick Singleton and like we think that Abdul Carter can be.
Right, Drew Aller, of course, taking over the reins as well. Nate, final thoughts. It's been a fun season, and certainly one, again, that Penn State fans, I think, will wonder what could have been if you beat Ohio State, if you beat Michigan, but certainly enjoy the fact that it ends here with a Rose Bowl win.
Yeah, I think that they maximized what they had. What this team was, they achieved as much as you could have possibly asked for out of this team. No. I mean, first of all, nobody said this, right? And it's not to say that predictions can't change and that expectations can't change as you learn more about the competition that's on your schedule.
Right.
But I thought certainly coming off of the last 2 years, and I'm going to write about this, but the lack of panic, right? Like Penn State football, in so many respects, I understand the dynamic, how it might frustrate fans because they want to see something something big happen, but that's not their MO. That is not how James Franklin operates. That's not how Sean Clifford operated. It's not how PJ Mustipher. All of those guys, all of those players that you talked about, Tig Brown, they just didn't panic through 2 years of not great time, right? Like a lot of adversity, a lot of things that didn't go their way, but they stuck to their formula, and it was something that I think in so many ways carried them to the success that they had this year.
Now, that's Nate Bauer. That's Sean Fitz. I'm Greg Pickle. We're wrapping up the 2022 Penn State football season in Pasadena. We'll see you at BlueWhiteIllustrated.com, YouTube.com/BlueWhiteIllustrated, and wherever you get your podcasts. Until next time.